are we witnessing the downfall of the HEARN'S and Matchroom Boxing? With so much losses and disappointments coming from that cursed stable in recent months, it's only natural that we boxing fans think this way. By the way, a lot of us boxing fans would be glad and grateful if Matchroom Boxing could disappear off the face of the earth due to the main fact that the man that represents it, Eddie Hearn, has proven over and over again to be an arrogant, manipulative user with his con-artistic approach to the sport. Eddie's wicked ways and terrible behavior weren't really noticeable until his cash cow, Anthony Joshua, finessed his way to becoming a world champion after capturing the IBF title. Once that happened, Eddie's true colors surfaced as he blatantly used Anthony Joshua as a prop to uplift his cursed promotional company while being disrespectful to fighters that were potential rivals to AJ. Anthony Joshua either could not see the fact that he was being used, or he chose to ignore the facts because he was getting paid big money for his services as a pawn in the little chess game that Eddie Hearn was playing with the heavyweight division. Joshua's main rival at the time, Deontay Wilder, was subject to all types of disrespect and unfair criticism stemmed from Eddie Hearn. Eddie would make false statements referencing Deontay Wilder's support from his home country. He would constantly lie about Deontay Wilder's earnings in interviews, and he would say anything to ridicule Deontay Wilder and his achievements. Eddie's very foolish supporters, mostly LTNKs, would run around propagating this false information all over social media and new media platforms. They were sitting on their high horse and enjoying their bragging rights because AJ picked up the belts from the floor, but all of those came to a crashing halt once their hero Anthony Joshua got knocked out. Actually, let me backtrack a little bit. What looked like the beginning of the end of Eddie Hearn's disgusting ways was when Tyson Fury came back from his drug and alcohol binge hiatus and fought Deontay Wilder to a draw, which dissolved the monopoly that Matchroom Boxing had on the heavyweight division and opened doors for other big fights to be made other than the mega undisputed clash between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, whom was still holding the other belts hostage. Fast forward early 2019, Eddie Hearn couldn't hide his desperation to secure the Wilder fight for his cash cow AJ because he realized that Wilder had other options. In a bid to make this happen, he was unsuccessful because he had burned many bridges with the likes of Deontay Wilder, Shirley Finkel, especially with the kindergarten jokes referencing Finkel as Winkle. The guy is stupid. To be honest, Eddie looked like a big fool in the eyes of the rest of the world, except his retarded fanatics, mostly made up of UK trolls. From my observations from the outside of what the manipulator Eddie was doing with Anthony Joshua's career, it was very, very clear that Eddie Hearn needed Anthony Joshua's then star power to expand Matchroom Boxing's brand to the United States and acquire more external distribution contracts with companies like DAZN. This just shows how selfish this Eddie Hearn guy is. At this point, Wilder had moved on and stopped communicating with Matchroom Boxing, which not only brought out more desperation from Eddie Hearn, but also put Joshua in a position where his star power was dwindling. The straw that broke the camel's back for Matchroom Boxing was when Anthony Joshua was beaten up, knocked down 4 times, spat out his gum shield, and showed visible signs of quitting in the ring. It was an embarrassing loss for Anthony Joshua and a potential devastation for the future of Matchroom Boxing and their finances. A rational way to think will be to realize that Matchroom Boxing could still bounce back from Anthony Joshua's defeat, because all AJ was to Matchroom Boxing was just a dispensable money-making machine that could be traded for another marketable boxer in the future when and if that boxer arises. After all, the business had been surviving before AJ came to the scene. AJ's presence just skyrocketed their finances while he was on top. After AJ's loss, Eddie Hearn became less vocal, which was awesome, by the way. Eddie also showed signs of humility, but as we all know, a beast's true colors would always come back to the surface. So, Eddie turned to his next biggest star, Dillian Whyte, to try to maximize his potentials. Eddie and his super idiotic followers, comprised of mostly UK trolls, LTNKs, and the rest of those lunatics, once again were attacking the WBC all over social media for not making a deviant Dillian Whyte the mandatory for the title. Fast forward July 2019, Dillian Whyte fights an undefeated Oscar Rivas, which was sanctioned by the WBC to make the winner the WBC mandatory challenger. If all the losses that Eddie Hearn and his followers and Matchroom Boxing had taken in recent months weren't enough, Dillian Whyte tested positive for performance-enhancing drugs days before the fight, and that information was only known by Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, Dillian Whyte, and the BBB of C. I guess that is the British Boxing Board of Control. Coincidentally, the only person that did not have this information, whom by the way should have been the first to know, was Oscar Rivas and his team. So basically, Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, and the BBB of C put Oscar Rivas in a dangerous situation by not divulging that information intentionally. This shows Eddie is not only a manipulative, compulsive liar and an arrogant user, he is also willing to sacrifice any fighter for the financial gains of Matchroom Boxing. Eddie willfully put Oscar Rivas in danger, and he is about to do the same to Anthony Joshua by imposing his will on AJ with everything regarding the Andy Ruiz rematch. Eddie Hearn, Matchroom Boxing, and its followers and supporters are bad for the sport of boxing. The result of the Whyte-Rivas clash should be changed to a no contest. Dillian Whyte needs to face the full wrath of the law governing boxing after his B sample comes out, dirty or not, regardless. And Eddie Hearn needs to be at least banned in some capacity, while the BBB of C should be investigated and overhauled. Thank you for watching. Peace.